He could silence nations but not his own body until the night he ordered his assistant into his bed, and the impossible happened. For the first time in years, the Mafia king felt alive. But when she vanished months later, he discovered she wasn't just running from him, she was running with something he never knew existed. What secret was dangerous enough to make the woman who awakened him disappear without a trace? Before we dive in, my friend said I'll never hit 1,000 subscribers. Help me prove her wrong. Subscribe, hit that notification bell, and comment where you're watching from. December in Seoul didn't just arrive, it conquered. The kind of cold that turned breath into ghosts and froze words before they could form. Jinho Park's mansion stood in Mapo like a monument to silence. Glass windows taller than ambition, corridors longer than memory, guards more loyal than blood. Inside those walls lived a man the world called untouchable. Jinho Park, 34, Mafia king. The name alone could empty rooms or fill them with fear. He controlled territories like chess pieces, moved money like water, and spoke so rarely that when he did, empires shifted. Women wanted him. Men envied him. Enemies didn't survive long enough to hate him. But there was one war Jinho couldn't win. One enemy he couldn't defeat. His own body. Years ago, a betrayal had left him with more than scars. It left him broken in a way no surgeon could repair. The doctors called it psychogenic dysfunction. The streets whispered a simpler word: impotent. He could command armies, but not desire. He could buy loyalty, but not arousal. And so, Jinho Park ruled from a throne made of ice, untouched, unfeeling, unreachable, until her. Sasha King wasn't supposed to be working that Friday. She'd already pulled 9 consecutive days treaty signings in basement clubs, crypto cash meetings in abandoned warehouses, front business briefings in glass towers that scraped the winter sky. No breaks, no sleep, no jerk chicken, no curry goat, no dance hall to remind her of home. Just espresso shots that tasted like survival and fear dressed up as professionalism. She sat in her tiny apartment in Itaewon, braids piled high, oversized sweater swallowing her frame, editing a file on her laptop when her phone buzzed. Warm my bed by midnight. No negotiation. She stared at the screen. Read it twice, then a third time. Sasha aloud to herself. This man has lost his entire mind. But Jinho Park didn't make jokes. He didn't send drunk texts. He didn't ask twice, which meant this was real. She grabbed her coat, her heating pad, 2 extra blankets, and pulled up her playlist titled Reggae for Resilience. If he wanted warmth, she'd bring the fire of Kingston itself. The gates to his mansion opened like jaws. Sasha stepped out of the cab, heels clicking against wet pavement, breath misting in the frozen air. The guards bowed slightly. No questions, no smiles, just obedience. She muttered under her breath, "If this man dragged me out here to fold sheets, we're gonna have words." The front door opened before she knocked, and there he stood. Jinho Park, black turtleneck, tailored slacks, chain pendant tucked against his collarbone, hair swept back, jaw tight, eyes unreadable. But something was different tonight. He looked cold, not intimidating, not untouchable, just cold, like a man who'd forgotten what warmth felt like. "Sasha," hands on hips, "tell me you didn't drag me across Seoul to be a human space heater." Jinho, exhaling slowly, the body double cancelled. "You have the warmest spirit I know." She blinked. That line was too poetic for a man who spoke in deadlines and decimals. Sasha, narrowing her eyes. "You've been drinking." Jinho, steady. "I don't drink." "Sasha." "Then you've been reading poetry, and that's worse." A flicker barely there crossed his expression. Not a smile, but close enough to make her heart skip. He stepped aside, gesturing for her to enter. The mansion swallowed her whole. Marble floors, chandeliers that looked like frozen stars, silence so thick it felt sacred. She walked carefully, heels echoing, aware of his gaze following her every step. Sasha glancing back. "So where's this freezing bed of doom?" Jinho, voice low. "Upstairs." Sasha teasing. "You know, most men buy dinner first." Jinho, without missing a beat. "Most women don't correct my 1,000,000,001 transaction errors without blinking." She stopped walking, turned fully to face him, their eyes locked, and for the first time in 9 days of fear, exhaustion, and professionalism, Sasha King felt something she hadn't allowed herself to feel in years. Curiosity. Not about his empire. Not about his reputation. About him. The man behind the myth. The king behind the crown. The silence behind the power. Jinho, quieter now. "You don't have to do this." Sasha, tilting her head. "Then why did you ask?" He didn't answer, because the truth was something even he didn't understand yet. He'd commanded her there not because he was cold, but because when she was near, the cold didn't feel so permanent. She followed him upstairs. The bedroom was enormous, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Seoul's skyline, a bed large enough to get lost in. Everything about it screamed wealth, control, distance. Sasha dropped her bag on the chair, plugged in the heating pad, and turned to face him. Sasha, ground rules. I'm here to help you not freeze to death. That's it. No weird mafia rituals, no cryptic conversations at 2 a.m. And definitely no, Jinho, interrupting softly. I just need you close. Her breath caught. The way he said it, steady, honest, almost vulnerable, made her forget every boundary she'd just tried to set. She climbed onto the bed, staying on top of the covers, wrapping herself in one of the blankets she'd brought. Sasha, attempting lightness. For the record, this is the strangest overtime I've ever worked. Jinho, lying beside her, still distant, noted. But then slowly, carefully, he shifted closer. Not touching, just near, close enough that she could feel his warmth, his breath, the steady rise and fall of his chest. And for the first time in years, Jinho Park felt something stir. Not desire, not yet, but awareness. A pulse, a flicker, a crack in the ice. He turned his head slightly, just enough to see her profile in the dim light, her braids spilling across the pillow, her skin glowing against white sheets, her breathing soft, steady, real. Jinho, barely a whisper. You're not afraid of me? Sasha, eyes still closed. Should I be? Jinho, everyone else is. Sasha, smiling faintly. Then everyone else doesn't know you wear mismatched socks under those expensive shoes. His chest tightened. How did she notice that? How did she see past the armor when no one else even tried? Sasha, turning to face him now. You're not as scary as you think, Jinho Park. The sound of his name from her lips, soft, certain, unafraid, unraveled something inside him. He reached out, slowly. His fingers brushed against her hand. And she didn't pull away. That night, neither of them slept much. Not because of passion, not yet, but because something had shifted between them, something neither could name, neither could stop, and neither would survive unchanged. By morning, the walls Jinho had built around himself began to crack. And Sasha King, the woman who survived 9 days of chaos without flinching, realized she'd just walked into the most dangerous territory of all, his heart. The first night should have been simple, clinical, even. A transaction wrapped in expensive sheets and unspoken boundaries. But simplicity died the moment Sasha King stopped treating Jinho Park like a king. She woke first, sunlight slicing through the floor-to-ceiling windows, painting Seoul's skyline in shades of gold and regret. Her body was still curled beneath the blanket she'd brought, the heating pad long cold beside her. Jinho lay an arm's length away, facing her, still asleep. In the soft morning light, he looked different, younger. The hard lines of his face softened, his breathing steady, peaceful in a way she'd never seen during office hours. Sasha sat up carefully, gathering her things, preparing to slip out before the awkwardness could settle between them like frost. But his voice stopped her. Jinho, eyes still closed. You're leaving. Not a question, a statement. Sasha, pausing. You're awake. Jinho, opening his eyes slowly. I don't sleep much. Sasha, forcing lightness. Well, mission accomplished. You didn't freeze to death. I'll send you my overtime invoice. She expected a nod, a dismissal, maybe even a rare thank you. Instead, he sat up, the blanket pooling at his waist, his gaze steady and unreadable. Jinho, come back tonight. Her breath caught. Sasha, carefully. Jinho, cutting her off gently. Not as an order, as a request. The distinction mattered. She could feel it in the air between them, heavy and electric. Sasha, searching his face. Why? Jinho, quiet honesty. Because I slept. 3 words, but they carried the weight of years. She wanted to say no. Wanted to remind him of boundaries, professionalism, the empire of rules they both lived by. But the way he looked at her, not with command, but with something close to hope, made her pause. Sasha, finally. One more night. Then we talk about what this is. Jinho? Nodding once. One more night. But they both knew the truth. One night would never be enough. The second night, she arrived at 11 p.m., this time without the heating pad. Jinho met her at the door himself. No guards, no formality, just him, in a simple black shirt and slacks, looking almost nervous. Sasha, raising an eyebrow. You sent the staff home? Jinho, privacy seemed appropriate. Sasha, teasing despite herself. For a professional bed-warming session? Jin-ho, the ghost of a smile. Something like that. They walked upstairs in silence, but it wasn't uncomfortable. It was anticipatory, charged. This time, when they lay down, he was closer. Not touching, but near enough that she could feel the heat radiating from his skin. Sasha, staring at the ceiling. Tell me something true. Jin-ho, turning his head toward her. About what? Sasha. About why you really asked me here. And don't say warmth. Your mansion has central heating. A long pause. She thought he might not answer. Then quietly. Because you don't look at me like I'm a weapon. You look at me like I'm human. Her heart clenched. Sasha, voice softer. You are human, Jin-ho. Jin-ho. Bitter laugh. The streets would disagree. Sasha, turning to face him now. The streets don't know you wear mismatched socks. They don't know you take 3 sugars in your coffee even though you pretend to drink it black. They don't know you. Jin-ho, suddenly intense. How do you know all that? Sasha, meeting his gaze. Because I pay attention. The air thickened. His hand moved slowly, deliberately, until his fingers found hers. This time, she laced them together. Jin-ho, voice rough. This is dangerous. Sasha, squeezing his hand. I know. Jin-ho, you should run. Sasha, smiling faintly. I don't run. Jin-ho. Then you're braver than my enemies. Sasha, or more foolish. His thumb traced circles on her palm, a touch so gentle it undid something inside her. Jin-ho, barely a whisper. I haven't felt this in years. Sasha, felt what? Jin-ho, meeting her eyes. Anything. The confession hung between them like a secret too fragile to survive daylight, and then he moved closer. Not rushing, not demanding, just closing the distance between them like a man learning to breathe again. Sasha, breath hitching. Jin-ho. Jin-ho, forehead nearly touching hers. Tell me to stop. Sasha, voice trembling. I can't. That was all the permission he needed. He kissed her. Soft at first, testing, questioning, but when she kissed him back, when her hand slid up to cradle his face, something broke open inside him. Years of numbness shattered. His body responded in ways he'd thought were dead. Heat flooded through him. Desire. Need. Hunger. He pulled her closer, deepening the kiss, his hands trembling against her waist. Sasha, gasping against his mouth. Jin-ho. Jin-ho, voice wrecked. I feel you. I feel everything. She understood what he meant, what he wasn't saying. For the first time in years, Jin-ho Park was alive, and it terrified him. They didn't sleep that night. Clothes fell away like armor neither of them needed anymore. Words gave way to gasps, whispers, names spoken like prayers. Sasha had been with men before, but this was different. The way he touched her, like she was both fragile and essential. The way he looked at her, like she'd given him back something he thought was lost forever. When it was over, they lay tangled together, breathing hard, the city lights casting shadows across their skin. Sasha, voice shaky. That just happened. Jin-ho, still holding her close. It did. Sasha. We crossed a line. Jin-ho. Several. Sasha, pulling back slightly to look at him. What happens now? Jin-ho's jaw tightened. The king was returning, walls rebuilding. But then he did something unexpected. He pulled her back against his chest and whispered into her hair. I don't know, but don't leave yet. Sasha, closing her eyes. Yet? Jin-ho, stay, please. It was the please that broke her. Jin-ho Park didn't beg, didn't ask, didn't need. But he needed this, needed her. Sasha settling against him. Okay. Outside, Seoul slept. Inside, 2 people who should have remained strangers held each other like the world might end if they let go. Morning came too soon. Sasha woke to find Jin-ho already dressed, standing by the window, phone in hand, the king fully restored. Sasha, sitting up. Back to business? Jin-ho, not turning around. I have a meeting in an hour. Sasha, pulling on her clothes. So this is where we pretend last night didn't happen? Jin-ho finally facing her. No. This is where we decide what last night means. Sasha, challenging. And what does it mean to you? Jin-ho stepped closer, his expression unreadable but his eyes burning. Jin-ho. It means I want you to come back. Sasha. As your assistant? Jin-ho, voice low. As mine. The possessiveness in his tone should have scared her. Instead, it ignited something dangerous inside her chest. Sasha. Chin up. I'm not a possession, Jin-ho. Jinho almost smiling. No, you're far more dangerous than that. Sasha. Then what am I? He reached out, tucking a braid behind her ear with surprising gentleness. Jinho. You're the only person who's ever made me feel like I'm still capable of being human. Her heart hammered against her ribs. Sasha, voice barely steady. This can't work. You're my boss. You're… Jinho, interrupting. I know, but tell me you don't feel this. She couldn't, because she did feel it. The pull, the connection, the terrifying, exhilarating sense that she'd just stepped off a cliff and was falling towards something that might destroy them both. Sasha, finally, one rule, no lies. If this ends, you tell me. Jinho, nodding. No lies. Sasha. Then I'll come back. Jinho, exhaling like he'd been holding his breath. Tonight? Sasha, grabbing her bag, smiling despite everything. Tonight. She left before the walls could close in, before she could second guess, before she could realize she'd just given her heart to the most dangerous man in Seoul. That day at the office, everything felt different. Jinho watched her across the conference room during a meeting, his gaze lingering a heartbeat too long. When she handed him files, their fingers brushed, and electricity shot through both of them. He found himself jealous when one of his lieutenants made her laugh. Jealous. Jinho Park. Jealous. It was absurd, reckless, weakness, but he couldn't stop it. That night, she returned. And the night after that. And the night after that. Until nights became routine. And routine became need. And need became something neither of them could name, but both of them felt consuming them whole. They were crossing lines they couldn't uncross. Building something in shadows that couldn't survive in daylight. But for now, wrapped in darkness, tangled in each other, they didn't care about consequences. They only cared about the next touch, the next kiss, the next night, until the night when everything would shatter. 3 weeks. That's how long they kept the secret. 3 weeks of Sasha arriving at Jinho's mansion after dark, leaving before dawn. 3 weeks of stolen moments that felt like stolen lifetimes. During the day, they were professional, distant. He was the king, she was the assistant. But at night, they were two people learning what it meant to be seen. Sasha, one night, tangled in sheets. Your empire knows I exist, but they don't know I exist like this. Jinho, tracing patterns on her shoulder. They can't. Sasha, pulling back to look at him. Why? Ashamed of me? Jinho, meeting her gaze fiercely. Terrified for you. That honesty silenced her. Jinho, continuing. The moment they know you matter to me, you become a target. Every rival, every ambitious lieutenant, every enemy I've ever made. Sasha, processing. So I'm your secret. Jinho, cupping her face. You're my only vulnerability. It should have felt romantic. Instead, it felt like a warning. But secrets have a way of bleeding into daylight. It started small. A rival gang noticed Sasha's access to Jinho's private meetings. Her presence at treaty negotiations. The way his eyes tracked her across the room. Lieutenant Kim, during a debriefing. Boss, about your assistant. Jinho, not looking up from his papers. What about her? Kim, carefully. The Lee Syndicate is asking questions. About why she's present for classified discussions. Jinho, ice in his voice. Tell the Lee Syndicate to focus on their own affairs before I remind them why they don't question mine. Kim, understood, sir. But the questions didn't stop. They multiplied. Whispers in back rooms. Speculation in coded phone calls. Who is she? Why her? What hold does she have over him? Sasha felt it too. The eyes on her during meetings. The sudden silence when she entered rooms. The weight of being watched by men who viewed compassion as weakness. Sasha one evening in his office. Your people hate me. Jinho, signing documents. They don't hate you. Sasha, they don't trust me. Jinho, finally looking up. They don't trust anyone. It's not personal. Sasha, frustrated. It feels personal when they look at me like I'm a liability. Jinho stood, crossed to her, tilted her chin up. Jinho, you are many things, Sasha King, but a liability isn't one of them. Sasha, searching his face. Then what am I? Jinho, voice dropping. Essential. The word landed between them like a confession. Sasha, breath hitching. Jinho. He kissed her before she could finish. Right there in his office, with the door unlocked, the Empire just beyond the walls. It was reckless. But they were past caution now. That night, their routine shifted. They didn't just share his bed. They shared conversations, dreams, fears whispered in darkness that neither would dare speak in daylight. Jinho. I never planned for this. Sasha. Head on his chest. For what? Jin-ho. You. Us. This. Feeling. Sasha, smiling against his skin. Is the Mafia King admitting he has feelings? Jin-ho, stroking her hair. Don't tell anyone. It'll ruin my reputation. She laughed, and the sound filled spaces inside him he didn't know were empty. Sasha, after a pause. What happens when we can't hide anymore? Jin-ho tightening his hold. We'll face it. Sasha. Together? Jin-ho. Together. It was a promise neither of them knew they wouldn't be able to keep. 2 more weeks passed. Their bond deepened, became addictive. Jin-ho found himself needing her presence not just at night, but during the day. During meetings where her sharp mind caught details others missed. During negotiations where her calm steadied his rage. He needed her emotionally, not just operationally, and that terrified him. His therapist, Dr. Han, during a rare session. You're describing emotional dependence. Jin-ho. I'm describing partnership. Dr. Han. In your world, partnerships are contracts. What you're describing is attachment. Jin-ho, defensive. What's wrong with attachment? Dr. Han, gently. Nothing. Unless it makes you vulnerable in ways your position can't afford. But Jin-ho was already vulnerable. He just didn't want to admit it yet. Sasha felt it too, the shift. How her mornings felt incomplete without his rare text messages. How her evenings centered around the moment she'd see him again. She was falling. Not carefully. Not slowly. But completely. Her best friend, Maya, over video call. Girl, you're glowing. Who is he? Sasha, deflecting. No one. Maya. Liar. You've got that look. That I'm in deep look. Sasha, sighing. It's complicated. Maya. Complicated how? Married? Broke? Emotionally unavailable? Sasha. Try all 3, but replace married with runs the Korean Mafia. Maya, eyes widening. Excuse me? Sasha. I can't talk about it. Just trust me. It's complicated. Maya. Sasha, please tell me you're being safe. Sasha, quiet. I'm trying. But safe was becoming relative. Then came the morning that changed everything. Sasha woke feeling off. Nauseous. Exhausted despite a full night's sleep. She brushed it off as stress. But when it happened 3 mornings in a row, a cold realization began to form. Sasha, staring at her calendar. No. She counted back. Recounted. Checked again. 6 weeks since her last period. 6 weeks of nights with Jin-ho. 6 weeks of feeling safe enough to forget about consequences. Her hands trembled as she reached for her phone, searching for the nearest pharmacy. Sasha, to herself. It's probably nothing. Just stress. The hours. The pressure. But deep down, she already knew. Her body was trying to tell her something her mind didn't want to hear. That evening, she showed up at Jin-ho's mansion an hour late. Jin-ho, opening the door himself. You're never late. Sasha, forcing a smile. Traffic. Jin-ho, studying her face. Liar. What's wrong? Sasha. Nothing. Just tired. But he saw through her. Always did. Jin-ho pulling her inside. Sasha. Sasha, deflecting. I'm fine. Really. Just need to sleep. He let it go. But his eyes tracked her movements all night. The way she barely ate. The way she held her stomach when she thought he wasn't looking. Something was wrong. But she wasn't ready to tell him. Not yet. Not until she knew for sure. That night, she lay awake long after Jin-ho fell asleep. Her hand rested on her stomach, flat and unchanged. But inside, 2 tiny heartbeats were already forming. 2 lives she didn't know how to protect. 2 secrets that would change everything. Sasha, whispering into the darkness. What have we done? No answer came. Just the sound of Jin-ho's breathing beside her and the city's endless hum beyond the windows. Tomorrow, she'd take the test. Tomorrow, she'd know for sure. Tomorrow, everything would become real. But tonight, she allowed herself one more moment of denial. One more night where they were just Jin-ho and Sasha, before they became something far more complicated, far more dangerous, far more permanent. The pharmacy bag sat in Sasha's bathroom for 2 hours before she found the courage to open it. She'd bought 3 tests, just to be sure. Sasha, hands shaking. It's going to be negative. Stress does this. Bodies do this. But her voice lacked conviction. She took the first test. 3 minutes felt like 3 years. She paced, checked her phone, avoided mirrors. When the timer went off, she approached the counter like it might explode. 2 lines. Positive. Sasha, breath leaving her body. No. She took the second test immediately. 2 lines. The third test. 2 lines. All positive. Sasha sliding down the bathroom wall. Oh God. She sat there on the cold tile floor. 3 positive pregnancy tests lined up like an accusation, and let reality crash over her. She was pregnant. With Jinho Park's child. The Mafia king who said she was his secret. His vulnerability. His only weakness. Sasha. Voice cracking. What am I supposed to do? For 10 minutes, she let herself panic. Then, slowly, something else began to emerge beneath the fear. Wonder. She placed a hand on her still flat stomach. Sasha softly. Hi. It was ridiculous. Premature. The babies were barely cells yet, but they were hers. Hers and Jinho's. Sasha, tears streaming. I don't know how to do this, but I'll figure it out. I promise. She let herself imagine it. Just for a moment. Telling Jinho. Watching his face shift from shock to... what? Joy? Fear? Rejection? She didn't know. That was the problem. She'd seen him tender in darkness, vulnerable in moments stolen between heartbeats, but she'd never seen him face consequences. Sasha, standing, wiping her face. He deserves to know. She'd tell him tomorrow. In his office. Somewhere official where she could maintain composure, where she could gauge his reaction before her heart shattered if it went wrong. That night, she didn't go to his mansion. She texted instead. Not feeling well. Need to rest. His response came immediately. Should I send Dr. Han? Sasha. No. Just need sleep. Jinho. Tell me if you need anything. Sasha. I will. She stared at that message for a long time. Would he still say that when he knew? When the secret stopped being just them and became something that required protection, resources, a future? She didn't sleep that night. Just practiced different ways to say the same impossible truth. I'm pregnant. We're going to have a baby. You're going to be a father. None of them sounded real. The next morning, she dressed carefully. Professional. Armor. She needed to feel strong for what was coming. Sasha, to her reflection. You can do this. You've survived worse. But had she? Had she ever stood before someone who mattered and gambled everything on 3 words? She arrived at the office an hour before Jinho's first meeting. Her plan was simple. Catch him during the window when he reviewed morning reports. Private. Quiet. Controlled. She walked through the building, heels clicking against marble, nodding at familiar faces. But something felt different today. The stares lasted longer. Whispers followed her. She pushed it aside. Paranoia. Pregnancy hormones. His office was on the top floor. She took the elevator, practicing her opening line one more time. Jinho, we need to talk. It's important. Simple. Direct. The elevator doors opened. She stepped into the corridor leading to his office, and froze. His door was slightly ajar, and she could hear his voice. Deep, measured, speaking in Korean. She should have knocked, should have announced herself, but something in his tone stopped her. Jinho on the phone. Temporary. You understand that, right? Sasha's blood went cold. Jinho. She's competent, valuable operationally, but it was never meant to be permanent. Her hand flew to her mouth, stifling a gasp. Jinho. We both know women like her don't fit in this world long term. She'll want more eventually. Marriage. Stability. Things I can't give. The other voice. Male. Laughing. So when does it end? Jinho. After a pause. Soon. Before it gets complicated. Sasha couldn't breathe. Jinho. She's not my type for anything permanent. Too soft. Too foreign. The families would never accept it anyway. Each word was a blade. Soft. Foreign. Temporary. Not his type. Jinho. It's better to end it clean. Before expectations develop. Before expectations develop. Sasha looked down at her stomach. Too late. She didn't remember stepping backward. Didn't remember the tears starting. Just the sudden, desperate need to leave. Now. Before he saw her. Before he knew what she'd heard. Before she shattered completely. Her heel scraped against the floor, a sound like breaking glass in the silence. Jinho. Inside the office. Hold on. She ran. Not walked. Ran. Toward the elevator. Vision blurred. Heart hammering. Jinho. Appearing in the doorway. Sasha? She didn't turn. Jinho. Louder. Sasha. Wait. The elevator doors opened. She stumbled inside, jamming the button. Jinho running toward her. Sasha, stop. Their eyes met just as the doors began to close. His face showed confusion, then realization, then horror. Jinho reaching the doors. Wait, let me. But they closed, cutting him off. Cutting them off. Sasha, collapsing against the wall. Temporary. Not his type. Too soft. The elevator descended, taking her further from him with every floor. By the time she reached the lobby, she was already planning her escape. By the time she reached her apartment, she was already packing. By midnight, Sasha King had vanished from Seoul without a trace, taking Jinho Park's twins and his last chance at redemption with her. I know your heart's racing. Mine too. Subscribe so you don't miss the moment everything falls apart and comes back together. Drop a heart if you're rooting for them. Jinho stood in the empty corridor long after the elevator doors closed. His phone was still in his hand. The call disconnected. His heart was racing in a way that had nothing to do with physical exertion, and everything to do with the look in Sasha's eyes before she disappeared. Betrayal. Devastation. Goodbye. Jinho, to himself. What did she hear? He replayed the conversation in his mind, and ice flooded his veins. He'd been talking about an operative, a potential security risk. A woman Lieutenant Kim wanted to place closer to his inner circle. Not Sasha. Never Sasha. But if she'd only caught fragments. Jinho, horror dawning. No. He ran to the elevator, punched the button repeatedly. Too slow. He took the stairs, descending 12 floors in a blur of panic and fury. Fury at himself, at circumstance, at the universe. For terrible timing. By the time he reached the lobby, she was gone. Jinho, to the security guard. Sasha King. Did she leave? Guard. Yes, sir. 3 minutes ago. Took a cab. Jinho. Where? Guard. I don't know, sir. Jinho was already dialing her number. It rang once. Twice. Voicemail. He tried again. 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 Each time. Voicemail. Jinho, jaw clenched. Sasha, call me back. Please. You misunderstood. Just call me. He texted. It wasn't about you. Let me explain. No response. Sasha. Please. Nothing. Don't do this. Silence. By 6 p.m., Jinho was at her apartment. He knocked, pounded, called her name through the door. No answer. Jinho, to the building manager. Open it. Manager. Sir, I can't just... Jinho, pulling out his wallet, handing over enough cash to buy silence and compliance. Open. It. The door swung open to an empty apartment. Not empty as in she'd stepped out. Empty as in she'd left. Half the closet cleared out. Toiletries gone. Passport missing from the drawer he knew she kept it in. Jinho, voice hollow. She ran. He sank onto her bed, head in his hands. The scent of her perfume still lingered on the pillows. For the first time in 15 years, Jinho Park felt helpless. 1 week later, Jinho had mobilized every resource. Private investigators, underworld contacts, airport surveillance, border crossings. Nothing. Sasha King had vanished like smoke. Detective Choi, in Jinho's office. Sir, we've checked every lead. She used cash for everything. No credit card trail. No phone signal after she left Seoul. Jinho staring out the window. She's smart. Choi. Very. She knows how to disappear. Jinho. Because I taught her. The irony was bitter. He'd trained her in operational security, taught her how his network tracked people, given her every tool she needed to escape him. Jinho, keep looking. Choi. Sir, if I may. Why? She was just an assistant. Jinho turned slowly, and the look in his eyes made the detective step back. Jinho, voice lethal. She was everything. Now find her. Choi, swallowing. Yes. Sir. 3 months later, the reports kept coming. All dead ends. Possible sighting in Bangkok, wrong woman. Credit card ping in Jamaica, her cousin's card. Phone call traced to London, burner number, disconnected. She was a ghost. Jinho stopped sleeping, stopped eating properly, threw himself into work with a violence that terrified his subordinates. Lieutenant Kim. Boss, you need to let this go. Jinho, not looking up from his papers. I don't let things go. Kim. She left. That means she wanted to leave. Jinho, finally meeting his eyes. She left because she thought I didn't want her. There's a difference. Kim, carefully. And if you find her, what then? Force her back? Jinho. No, I beg her back. Kim had never heard his boss use that word before. Beg. Kim. Sir. Jinho. I'll burn down every city between here and wherever she is if that's what it takes, but I will find her. It wasn't a promise. It was a vow. 1 year later, Jinho had stopped looking desperate, but he never stopped looking. The search became quieter, more methodical. Informants worldwide with her description. Algorithms scanning social media for facial recognition matches. He existed in a state of controlled devastation, ruling his empire during the day, haunting his mansion at night. The bed they'd shared remained untouched. He slept in a guest room instead. Some nights, he'd stand in the doorway of that room and remember her laugh, her sarcasm, her warmth, the way she made him feel human. Jinho, to the empty room. I should have told you sooner. That you weren't temporary. That you were permanent. That you were mine. But she wasn't there to hear it. 2 years later, Jinho had accepted that she might never come back. But he couldn't accept moving forward without her. He turned down meetings, canceled operations, let his empire run itself while he existed in a kind of emotional purgatory. Dr. Han, during a session, you're in mourning. Jinho, she's not dead. Dr. Han. But the relationship is... Jinho, anger flashing. It's not over until I find her. Dr. Han. And say what? Jinho, the truth. That I was talking about someone else. That she misunderstood. That He stopped. Dr. Han gently. That you what? Jinho, voice breaking. That I love her. It was the first time he'd said it out loud. Dr. Han, did you tell her? Before she left? Jinho, no. Dr. Han. Then how was she supposed to... I know? And there it was. The truth that cut deeper than any betrayal. He'd felt it. But he'd never said it. And now she was gone. 2 years, 11 months later. Detective Choi, rushing into Jinho's office. Sir. Jinho not looking up. Another dead end? Choi. No. A confirmed sighting. Jinho's head snapped up. Jinho. Where? Choi. Mappo. She's back in Seoul. Jinho was on his feet instantly. Jinho. When? Choi. She's been here for 2 weeks, working at a design firm downtown, living in Sangsu-dong. Jinho barely breathing. You're certain? Choi, handing over surveillance photos. Positive. Jinho stared at the images. Sasha. Older. More beautiful somehow. Walking down a Seoul street with, his heart stopped. 2 children. A boy and a girl. Maybe 2, almost 3 years old. Holding her hands. With his eyes, his face, his expressions. Jinho, voice hollow. Twins. Choi. Sir. Jinho, sitting down slowly. She was pregnant. Everything clicked into place. Why she looked devastated that day. Why she ran so completely. Why she never reached out. She'd been carrying his children when she overheard him. When she thought he called her temporary. Not his type. Too soft. Jinho, hands shaking. I have children. Choi. Should I? Jinho. Get me her address. Now. For the first time in 3 years, Jinho Park felt something besides grief. Hope. Terror. Desperate, aching determination. Jinho to himself. I'm coming, Sasha. And this time, I'm not letting you go. Sangsu-dong. Seoul. 3 years later. Sasha King had learned to live quietly. No mafia, no mansions, no dangerous men with beautiful lies. Just her twins, and the stubborn determination to survive. She worked as a freelance UX designer for a mid-tier firm. The pay was decent, the hours flexible, the questions minimal. Perfect for a single mother with secrets too dangerous to share. Sasha, to her reflection one morning. You did it. You got out. But some mornings, the victory felt hollow. 6:47 a.m. 2 small voices shattered her thoughts. Boy twin, bursting into her room. Mama! Jiwoo took my dinosaur. Girl twin, right behind him. I didn't take it. It was on the floor. Sasha, smiling despite exhaustion. Good morning to you both. 2. Taejun, her son, had Jinho's serious eyes and tendency towards silence. When he smiled, it was an event. When he frowned, he looked exactly like his father mid-negotiation. Jiwoo, her daughter, had Jinho's intensity but Sasha's boldness. She spoke 3 languages at 2.5, negotiated snack portions like a business deal, and never backed down from anything. They were perfect and terrifying. Because every day, they looked more like the man she'd run from. Sasha, kneeling to their level. How about we all share the dinosaur at breakfast? Taejun, considering, acceptable. Jiwoo, I wanted the dinosaur, but okay. Sasha, kissing both their foreheads. That's my diplomatic team. Mornings were controlled chaos. Breakfast, getting dressed, The scramble for shoes that somehow multiplied and vanished simultaneously. Sasha, finding one tiny shoe under the couch. How does this keep happening? Ji-woo, matter of fact. Magic. Sasha. Right. Magic. She dropped them at daycare by 8:30, kissed them goodbye a dozen times, and watched them run toward their friends. Every day, she waited for someone to comment on how much they looked like each other, like their father. Every day, no one did. Seoul was big enough to be anonymous, small enough to feel like borrowed time. At work, Sasha had built a reputation quickly, sharp, efficient, unshakable. Her coworkers knew she was a single mother, nothing more. They didn't know she'd once stood at the right hand of Seoul's most dangerous man. They didn't know she'd loved him, and they definitely didn't know he was the father of her children. Minji, her desk neighbor. Sasha, you coming to dinner Friday? Sasha, smiling apologetically. Can't. Babysitter's unavailable. Minji, you never come out. We're starting to think you're a spy. Sasha, laughing it off. Definitely not a spy. Just a boring mom. But she could feel it sometimes, eyes on her. The sense of being watched. Paranoia, she told herself. Seoul had 8 million people. The chances of Jinho's network finding her were slim. She'd been careful. Cash only. No social media. Different last name on all official documents. She was safe. She had to be. For the twins. Meanwhile, across the city, Jinho sat in his car outside Sasha's apartment building for the 3rd night in a row. He didn't approach. Didn't knock. Just watched. Watched her come home from work, twins in tow. Watched her laugh as Ji-woo danced down the sidewalk. Watched Taejun hold her hand with the same serious grip Jinho recognized from mirrors. Jinho, to himself. They're mine. There was no doubt. Not anymore. But seeing them, his children, alive, real, existing without him, shattered something inside him. Jinho. She did this alone, for 3 years. While he'd been searching, while he'd been grieving. She'd been raising their children in a 1-bedroom apartment, working herself to exhaustion, surviving. Because of him, because of what she thought she'd heard. Lieutenant Kim, from the passenger seat. Boss, do you want me to? Jinho. No, not yet. Kim, you've been watching for 3 days. Jinho. I need to do this right. Kim. There's a right way to tell a woman you found her after she explicitly ran from you? Jinho, finally looking at him. I'll figure it out. Kim. Before or after she calls the police? Jinho almost smiled. Hopefully before. Day 4. Jinho made his decision. He'd go to her. Alone. No guards, no intimidation. Just a man asking for 5 minutes to explain 3 years of misunderstanding. He arrived at her apartment building at 7 p.m., after the twins would be asleep. He climbed the stairs slowly, practicing what to say. I wasn't talking about you. Too defensive. I'm sorry. Too simple. I've been looking for you for 3 years. Too intense. Jinho, at her door. The truth. Just tell her the truth. He knocked. Silence. He knocked again. Footsteps. A pause at the peephole. Then, her voice. Shaking but firm. Sasha, through the door. Go away. Jinho. His heart clenched at hearing her say his name. Jinho. 5 minutes. That's all I'm asking. Sasha. I have nothing to say to you. Jinho. Then just listen. Sasha. Why should I? Jinho, pressing his hand against the door. Because I wasn't talking about you that day, and you deserve to know the truth. Silence. Long enough that he thought she might not answer. Then, the lock clicked. The door opened a crack. Sasha stood there, arms crossed, eyes guarded. She looked older, tired, more beautiful than he remembered. Sasha. 5 minutes. Then you leave. Jinho, stepping inside carefully. Thank you. She didn't offer him a seat, just stood in the small living room, surrounded by toys and children's books and a life he'd never been part of. Jinho looking around. You did all this alone. Sasha, cold. I didn't have a choice. Jinho. Because you thought. Sasha, cutting him off. I didn't think anything. I heard you. Temporary. Not your type. Too soft. Too foreign. Jinho, urgent. I was talking about an operative, a woman Kim wanted to place in my inner circle. Not you. Never you. Sasha, laughing bitterly. Do you really expect me to believe that? Jinho. It's the truth. Sasha. The truth is you kept me secret because I was a liability. The truth is you never once said what I meant to you. The truth is, I heard you say I didn't fit in your world. Jinho, voice breaking. You were never a liability. You were the only thing that made my world worth living in. Sasha, eyes glistening. Then why didn't you say that before I left? Jinho. Because I'm a coward. Because I was terrified that if I said it out loud, something would take you from me. And I was right. Sasha, you took yourself from me when you made me a secret. Jinho. I was trying to protect you. Sasha. From what? Your world? Your enemies? Or from yourself? He had no answer. Sasha, voice cracking. I was going to tell you that day. In your office. Jinho frozen. Tell me what? Sasha, tears falling now. That I was pregnant. The words hit him like a bullet. Jinho, barely breathing. You knew before you left? Sasha, nodding. I found out that morning. I was coming to tell you. And instead, I heard you planning to end things before they got complicated. Jinho, horror washing over him. Sasha, so I made the choice for both of us. I left. And I raised them without you. Jinho, them, Sasha, chin lifting. Twins, a boy and a girl. Taejun and Jiwoo. Jinho, tears in his eyes. I want to meet them. Sasha stepping back. No. Jinho. They're my children. Sasha, fierce. They're my children. You're just the man who gave me a reason to run. Jinho falling to his knees. Then let me give you a reason to stay. Sasha stared down at him, the king of Seoul's underworld, on his knees in her tiny apartment. Sasha, voice breaking. You're 3 years too late. Jinho looking up at her. Then let me spend the rest of my life making up for it. She wanted to say no. Wanted to close the door and protect the life she'd built. But she saw something in his eyes she'd never seen before. Not just regret, but love. Raw, desperate, real. Sasha, quietly. 5 minutes is up. Jinho, standing slowly. I'll go, but I'm not giving up. Not on you, not on them, not on us. He walked to the door, paused, turned back. Jinho. I love you, Sasha King. I should have said it 3 years ago. But I'm saying it now. And I'll keep saying it until you believe me. He left before she could respond. Sasha stood alone in her living room, tears streaming down her face. Sasha, whispered. I already believe you. That's the problem. 1 week later, Jinho didn't push, didn't show up unannounced again. But he was present in ways that couldn't be ignored. The daycare's overdue fees? Mysteriously paid. The broken washing machine in Sasha's building? Replaced overnight. Her car, a barely functioning sedan, serviced completely. Registration renewed. Sasha, to Minji. I don't know whether to be grateful or furious. Minji, is this the father? Sasha, pausing. It's complicated. Minji, rich complicated or dangerous complicated? Sasha, laughing sadly. Both. Jinho kept his distance physically, but he watched. From cars parked across the street, from cafe windows overlooking the playground, he watched his children live lives he'd missed. Taejun, serious and thoughtful, helping his sister climb playground equipment. Jiwoo, fearless and loud, negotiating with other children like a tiny CEO. They were perfect. And they were strangers. Jinho, to Lieutenant Kim. I missed everything. Kim. First steps. First words. First birthdays. Jinho. How do I come back from that? Kim. Slowly. And with a lot of apologies. The rumors started subtly. Whispers in the underworld that Jinho Park had been spotted in Sangsu-dong. A residential area. No business interests there. Then someone noticed the woman. And the children. Rival gang member. On a recorded call. He's watching a family. 2 kids. A woman. Going soft? Another voice. Or their leverage. The Lee syndicate began asking questions. Who was she? How did she know him? Were the children his? And if they were vulnerabilities. Targets. Jinho. In an emergency meeting. Increase security on Sangsu-dong. Rotation every 6 hours. Discreet. Kim. Boss, that's gonna raise more questions. Jinho. I don't care. Protect them. Kim. Does she know you're protecting her? Jinho. No. And she can't. She'll see it as control. Kim, isn't it? Jinho, meeting his eyes. It's love. 2 weeks after Jinho's visit, Sasha noticed. The men in cars who changed shifts but never left. The same faces in the cafe across from the daycare. The way strangers seemed to watch her twins too carefully. Sasha, during nap time, calling the one number she swore she'd never dial again. Stop. Jinho answering immediately. Sasha. Sasha. Call off your guards. Jinho. I can't. Sasha. You're scaring me. Jinho. The Lee Syndicate knows about you. About them. I won't take chances. Sasha. Blood running cold. This is exactly why I left. Jinho. And coming back put you on their radar. I'm sorry. But I'm not sorry for protecting you. Sasha. You don't get to decide what I need. Jinho. Then tell me. What do you need? Sasha. Voice breaking. I need you to have been a different man. I need the last 3 years back. I need... She stopped. Jinho gently. What do you need, Sasha? Sasha whispering. I need to know if you really meant it. That you love me. Jinho. More than my empire. More than my life. Sasha. Then prove it. Meet them. Not as a threat. Not as a king. As their father. Silence. Jinho. Voice thick with emotion. When? Sasha. Saturday. The park near my apartment. 2 p.m. And Jinho? Jinho. Yes. Sasha. Don't make me regret this. Saturday. 1:47 p.m. Jinho arrived early. Standing near the playground entrance. Hands in his pockets. Heart racing. He'd faced down rival gangs without flinching. But the thought of meeting his 3-year-old children made him shake. Jinho to himself. What do I even say? At exactly 2 p.m., he saw them. Sasha, holding both their hands, walking slowly. Taejun, clutching a small dinosaur. Jiwoo, skipping. When they got closer, Sasha stopped. Sasha, kneeling to the twins' level. There's someone I want you to meet. Jiwoo, curious. Who? Sasha, taking a breath. This is... your father. Taejun stared up at Jinho, unblinking. Jiwoo tilted her head, studying him with unnerving intensity. Jiwoo. You're tall. Jinho, voice rough. So are you, for your age. Taejun, quietly. You look like me. Jinho, kneeling. You look like me too. Jiwoo, to Sasha. Can I hug him? Sasha, eyes glistening. If you want to. Jiwoo didn't hesitate. She walked forward and wrapped her small arms around Jinho's neck. And Jinho, the man who'd never cried in front of anyone, broke. Jinho, holding her carefully. Hi, Jiwoo. Jiwoo. Hi, Appa. The word destroyed him. Taejun approached more slowly. Dinosaur clutched tight. Taejun, do you like dinosaurs? Jinho, smiling through tears. I love dinosaurs. Taejun, considering. Okay, you can stay. Jinho. Thank you. Sasha watched from a few feet away, tears streaming silently. This was everything she'd been terrified of, and everything she'd hoped for. They spent 2 hours at the park. Jinho pushed them on swings, built sandcastles, listened to Jiwoo's elaborate stories and Taejun's careful observations, and for the first time in 3 years, he felt whole. Jiwoo, tugging his sleeve. Are you staying? Jinho, glancing at Sasha. I don't know yet. Jiwoo, I want you to stay. Taejun, nodding. Me too. Jinho, voice thick. Then I'll do everything I can. As the sun set, they walked back toward Sasha's apartment. The twins ran ahead, laughing. Jinho and Sasha walked in silence. Jinho. Thank you. Sasha. For what? Jinho. For not erasing me. For giving me this chance. Sasha. They deserve to know their father. Jinho. And you? What do you deserve? Sasha, stopping. Honesty. Consistency. Proof that you won't disappear when things get hard. Jinho, turning to face her. I won't. Sasha, how do I know? Jinho, taking her hand. Because I already lost you once. I won't survive it again. Ahead, Jiwoo called out. Appa! Mama, come on! Both their hearts stopped at hearing those words together. Jinho, looking at Sasha. I want this. Every day. For the rest of my life. Sasha, tears falling. Then earn it. Jinho. I will. He meant it. And for the first time, Sasha believed him. 3 weeks later, Jinho had kept his promise. Every Saturday, he met the twins at the park. Every Wednesday, he video called to say goodnight. Every day, he proved he wasn't going anywhere. Slowly, carefully, he was building trust. With them, with Sasha. Sasha to Maya on video call. He's actually showing up. Maya. Are you letting him back in? Sasha. I don't know yet. The twins love him. But Maya. You're scared. Sasha. Terrified. Maya. Of what? Sasha. That I'll believe him, and he'll disappear again. Maya. Or that you'll believe him, and he'll stay, and you'll have to forgive him completely. Sasha didn't answer, because Maya was right. Thursday, 3:47 p.m. Sasha was at work, finalizing a presentation, when the fire alarm screamed to life. Minji panicked. Is this a drill? Building manager, over intercom. This is not a drill. Evacuate immediately. Smoke was already curling under the door. Sasha, grabbing her bag. Let's go! They ran toward the stairwell, but flames blocked the path. Minji, the other exit. They turned, but the smoke was thicker now, disorienting. Sasha, coughing, this way. But they were on the 7th floor, and the elevators were dead. They reached a conference room, slammed the door, stuffed towels under the crack. Minji, trying her phone. No signal. Sasha, doing the same. Mine's dead too. Smoke seeped in anyway. Sasha, to herself. The twins. I have to get to the twins. She tried the window. Locked. She grabbed a chair, smashed it. The window shattered. Fresh air rushed in, but they were 7 floors up. Minji, crying. We're trapped. Sasha pulling her close. We're getting out, I promise. But she didn't know how. Meanwhile, Jinho was in a meeting when Lieutenant Kim burst in. Kim. Boss, there's a fire. Downtown. The design firm. Jinho's blood froze. Jinho. Sasha. Kim. She's inside. Jinho was running before Kim finished the sentence. 4:02 p.m. Jinho's car screeched to a stop outside the burning building. Fire trucks, ambulances, chaos. Jinho, grabbing a firefighter. 7th floor. How many evacuated? Firefighter. We're still accounting. Jinho. 7th floor. Firefighter. Sir, you can't. But Jinho was already moving. Kim chasing him. Boss, wait for the... Jinho ignored him, pushing past barriers, grabbing a discarded fire jacket, and running into the building. Inside, the smoke was blinding, heat unbearable. But Jinho didn't stop. Jinho, shouting, Sasha! He took the stairs, 3 at a time, lungs burning, vision blurring. 7th floor. He kicked open doors, searching. Jinho, Sasha. Then he heard it, coughing. From the conference room at the end of the hall, he ran, tried the door, locked from the inside. Jinho, pounding. Sasha, open the door. Sasha, from inside, weak. Jinho? Jinho. Stand back. He kicked once, twice. The door splintered. He burst in. Sasha and Minji were by the broken window, smoke-stained, coughing. Jinho, rushing to Sasha. You're alive. Sasha, grabbing him. The twins. Jinho, are safe. At daycare. I already sent someone. Sasha, collapsing against him. I thought I'd never see them again. Jinho, lifting her. I've got you. He turned to Minji. Jinho. Stay close. They moved through the smoke, Jinho shielding both women, navigating by memory and instinct. A beam collapsed ahead. Jinho didn't hesitate. He pushed Sasha and Minji behind him, taking the impact against his shoulder. Sasha screaming, Jinho! Jinho, gritting through pain. Keep moving. They made it to the stairwell. Down, 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 until finally air. Light. Outside. They collapsed on the pavement, firefighters rushing toward them. Paramedic. Sir, you need treatment. Jinho, ignoring them, cupping Sasha's face. Are you hurt? Sasha, tears streaming. You came. Jinho. Always. I will always come. Sasha. You could have died. Jinho, voice fierce. I will burn the whole city down if it means you breathe longer than my regret. And there, covered in soot and ash, surrounded by sirens and smoke, Sasha finally understood. He loved her. Not perfectly. Not without scars. But completely. Sasha pulling him close. Don't ever let me go. Jinho, holding her like she might disappear. Never again. That night, after the hospital. After the twins were picked up and held so tight they protested. After statements and shock wore off. Sasha sat in Jinho's car outside her apartment. Sasha, you saved my life. Jinho, you saved mine first. 3 years ago. When you made me feel human. Sasha, I forgive you. Jinho's breath caught. Jinho. What? Sasha, turning to face him. For that day. For the misunderstanding. For all of it. I forgive you. Jinho, voice breaking. Sasha. Sasha. But if you ever make me secret again, if you ever make me feel like I'm not enough, I'm gone, and I'm taking them with me. Jinho, you'll never have to. Because I'm telling the whole world, you're mine, they're mine, and anyone who has a problem with it can face me. Sasha, smiling through tears. The underworld's going to lose their minds. Jinho, let them. He kissed her then, not gently, not tentatively, but like a man who'd been drowning and finally found air, and Sasha kissed him back. Because love doesn't always return the way it leaves. Sometimes it comes back through fire, through smoke, through the absolute certainty that some people are worth burning for. 6 months later, the mansion in Mapo looked different now. Not because the architecture had changed, not because Jinho had renovated, but because it was full of laughter, full of tiny footsteps, full of life. Jiwoo, running through the hallway. Taejun took my crown. Taejun, walking calmly behind her. You said I could be king today. Jiwoo, I changed my mind. Sasha, appearing from the kitchen. We have 2 crowns. 1 gold, 1 silver. Choose. Jiwoo, gold. Taejun, I also want gold. Sasha, rock, paper, scissors, best of 3. Jinho watched from his office doorway, a rare smile on his face. Lieutenant Kim beside him. You're different, boss. Jinho, better or worse? Kim, happier, which makes everyone nervous. Jinho almost laughing. Happiness isn't a weakness. Kim, in your world it used to be. Jinho, watching Sasha negotiate with 2 stubborn 3-year-olds. Then my world was wrong. The underworld had adapted. Some rivals tested him, thinking fatherhood made him soft. They learned quickly. Jinho Park with something to protect was more dangerous than Jinho Park with nothing to lose. Rival gang leader, in intercepted recording. He's not weaker. He's ruthless now. Protect the family at all costs type. Second voice. So we don't touch them. First voice. Not unless we want war. Jinho had made it clear. His family was off limits. Not through threats. Through action. One gang tried to leverage Sasha's safety. Jinho dismantled their entire operation in 48 hours. The message was received. Saturday afternoon. Jinho took the twins to the mansion's garden. It had been barren before. Just grass and silence. Now, there was a swing set. A sandbox. A small slide. Taejun, running toward the sandbox. Appa, build castle with me. Jinho, kneeling beside him. What kind of castle? Taejun, very serious. Big, with walls, and dragons. Jinho, defensive and mythical. I respect that. Jiwoo climbing onto the swing. Push me, higher. Jinho, hold on tight. He pushed gently at first, then higher as she shrieked with joy. Jiwoo, I'm flying. Jinho, softly. You are. From the window, Sasha watched. She'd moved in 2 months ago. Not because Jinho demanded it, but because the twins asked, and because she was ready. Sasha, to herself. This is real. This is actually real. The man who'd once been untouchable now knelt in sand, building castles with his son. The king who'd ruled from shadows now pushed his daughter on a swing, laughing. Sasha, stepping outside. Room for one more? Jinho, looking up, eyes soft. Always. She joined them, and for an hour, they were just a family. No empires, no danger, no past. Just now. Evening. After the twins were bathed, storied, and finally asleep. Jinho and Sasha stood on the balcony overlooking Seoul. Sasha, do you miss it? The quiet? Jinho pulling her close. Never. Sasha, even when Jiwoo wakes you up at 5 a.m. demanding pancakes? Jinho, especially then. Sasha, leaning into him. We really did this. Jinho, we did. Sasha, the Mafia king and the runaway assistant. Jinho, the man and the woman he can't live without. It started to rain. Soft, gentle, like the night she left, but different now. Sasha, rain. Jinho, do you want to go inside? Sasha, closing her eyes. No, I want to stay right here. So they did. Standing in the rain, holding each other, letting the water wash away the last of the fear, the doubt, the years they'd lost. Jinho kissing her forehead. I love you, Sasha King. Sasha smiling. I love you, Jinho Park. Jinho, marry me. She pulled back, eyes wide. Sasha, what? Jinho getting down on one knee, rain soaking them both. Marry me. Not because I need you, but because I choose you. Every day, For the rest of my life. Sasha, tears mixing with rain. You're serious. Jin-ho, I've never been more serious. Sasha, no ring? Jin-ho, pulling a small box from his pocket. I've been carrying it for 2 months, waiting for the right moment. Sasha, laughing through tears. And you chose rain? Jin-ho, I chose full circle. She stared at the ring. Simple, elegant, perfect. Sasha, yes. Jin-ho, barely breathing. Yes? Sasha, pulling him up, kissing him. Yes, 1,000 times yes. Inside, they stood dripping in the entryway, laughing like teenagers. Jin-ho, we should change. Sasha, probably. Neither moved. Sasha, do you think they'll remember this? When they're older? Jin-ho, remember what? Sasha, that we fought for this. That love isn't always easy, but it's always worth it. Jin-ho, I'll make sure they know. From upstairs, a small voice. Ji-woo, Appa? Mama? Why are you wet? They looked up. Both twins stood at the top of the stairs, rubbing sleepy eyes. Tae-jun, did it rain inside? Sasha, laughing. No, baby, we were outside. Ji-woo, why? Jin-ho, picking her up. Because your mama said yes. Ji-woo, yes, to what? Sasha, scooping up Tae-jun. Yes to forever. Tae-jun, processing. Forever is a long time. Jin-ho, it is. Ji-woo, good. I like forever. 1 year later, the wedding was small, intimate. Just family and the few people they trusted. The twins were ring bearers. Ji-woo took her job very seriously. Tae-jun dropped the rings twice but recovered with dignity. When Jin-ho and Sasha exchanged vows, there wasn't a dry eye in the room. Jin-ho, you taught me that power isn't control. It's trust. It's choosing someone every day and letting them choose you back. Sasha, you taught me that running doesn't solve anything. That sometimes the scariest thing is staying. But staying with you is the bravest thing I've ever done. When they kissed, the twins cheered louder than anyone. 2 years after that, the underworld still whispered about Jinho Park. But now they whispered about the man who'd chosen love over empire, who knelt to play with his children, who answered to Appa before boss, rival leader in a meeting. He's not weaker. Lieutenant from Jinho's side, he's complete. And he was, because empires fall for betrayal, kings rise for revenge. But legends? Legends return only when love signs the warrant. And Jinho Park Mafia king, broken man, father, husband had become a legend, not for his power, but for his surrender to something greater, love, family, forever. And that's how a king who ruled everything learned to kneel for the only things that mattered. If this story broke your heart and put it back together, please subscribe. I promise the next one is just as powerful. Click the video on your screen now. And hey, my friend bet I couldn't hit 1,000 subscribers with stories like this. Prove her wrong? Drop a heart in the comments if you believe love can heal even broken kings. Thank you for being here. See you in the next story.